I need to state at the outset of this video that I actually like Gale quite a lot. He is by far my favorite male companion. He's interesting, witty, and he seems to be good-natured. When you contrast him with somebody like Astarion, who is basically there to be played as a romance sim, and Will, who at least to date appears incredibly boring, Gale is the best of them. But that doesn't mean that there aren't certain liabilities that come with Gale. All the companions have liabilities. And if you played Early Access, you know a little bit about his history. So if you don't want to be spoiled and if you've never played Early Access before, stop the video right now. But Gale munches magical items. He has been cursed by Mystra for his perfidy against her to bear a Netherese orb within his chest. And if it's not fed with powerful magical items, it will explode, and the force of this explosion is so potent that it could level a city the size of Waterdeep, or even larger. And so, he's in a dilemma. He needs to feed magical items to this orb, and you are there to assist him. And what happens, of course, is if you don't help him out with this task, he will get angry, and you will lose approval with him. And eventually, if you don't help him out at all, he will betray you and turn to a devil to make a pact to take care of this issue. So that seems really bad. But if you look at his origin, his official origin as stated by Larian on their website, it states the following. Wizard prodigy. What's a god to a world-class wizard? Gale was once a formidable archmage in Waterdeep, but pushed his relationship with the goddess Mystra too far. Failing to usurp his former lover's godhood, the goddess stole Gale's magics away and cursed him with the Netherese orb, a dangerous artifact with enough magical potential energy in it to level a city if it were allowed to escape. Beyond learning the lesson for his hubris, Gale has now become beset with concern for the danger he poses to others around him, and is worried that if he undergoes Ceramorphosis, the angry orb could imperil countless lives if he can't neutralize it first. So what does this tell us? Gale is extremely arrogant, extremely full of himself, and he suffers from hubris. There's probably a reason why St. Thomas Aquinas, when talking about the 7 deadly sins, put pride at number 1. And the real question here is whether or not Gale has learned his lesson. And given the brash way he comes off, and the way he interacts with you at times, I don't think he has. But that's all well and good, and that's his personality. And of course, that poses a risk. After all, he will turn on you if you don't feed him magical items. But there's a practical, pragmatic liability when it comes to Gale. And it's something he mentions himself. I'm paraphrasing here, but he says something to the effect of, I know the allure of these artifacts. Meaning, he knows that you're basically wasting these artifacts on him. And in the beginning, it might be okay. You feed him the Amulet of Selûne, or maybe the Staff of Crones. And these are not the most amazing items, so it's okay. But what happens when you encounter more and more powerful magical items? What happens when you encounter one of the 9 legendary artifacts, and he says, I really need this to stave off the magical explosion, so give it to me. We're talking about 9 unique legendary items in the game that Larian have officially announced, and they don't even need to be these legendaries. They could just be very potent magical items that you find a use for. Now, there are only 2 ways around that, or maybe 2.5. The simplest solution would be just to kill Gale. Then you don't need to deal with this problem, although he has a funny cutscene and sequence if you do kill him. You can ignore him, and he goes to the devil and finds his fortune there, although I would say it's more misfortune than fortune. The third option, which is probably the most reasonable one, if you want to have Gale in your party, is to be very circumspect about the magical items you have. For example, if you find a powerful magical item that's really only useful to druids, and you have not a single druid in your party, then it might be okay to feed him the magical item. If, on the other hand, you did have a druid, say Halsin or Jaheira, maybe that's not the best idea. And this principle would apply to every situation in the game with respect to party composition. The risk and danger of Gale, from a pragmatic perspective, beyond the story, which is also intriguing in of itself, is the fact that he can severely handicap your party and limit your party in its ability to do things and get things done. And if you encounter really useful items, he will want to devour them. And that is why Gale is probably, on multiple fronts, the most dangerous of the companions. Thanks for watching. But before I go, I'd like to invite you to my Discord, where you can discuss Baldur's Gate 3 with like-minded people, as well as other RPGs. And again, thank you for tuning in. And if you like my content, you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. And you can hit the bell icon to be informed of my videos. And I will check you out next time. Take care.